Hey, American contractors, viewers of the American Contractor Show. I'm here with John Dye at Win the Storm, and I have to tell you, anyone that is associated with American Contractor Show, you are a badass.
Big shout out to American Contractor Show. If you don't know, you definitely need to check out the Storm Summit. They're doing it in excellence. Check them out.
Hey, what's up? This is your friend, Francisco Serrano. If you haven't checked it out, American Contractor Show, YouTube channel, Facebook channel, Twitter, Instagram, all the platforms, you need to go them, like them, start learning about your craft.
Hey, I'm Matt Danskin with Restoration Referral System. Check out the American Contractor Show. The truck that they've got is awesome. Everything else that they have going on.
This is Larry Bache with the Merlin Law Group, helping policyholders for more than 30 years. If you have a claim or your client has a claim that needs help, please feel free to call the Merlin Law Group because we are the true policyholder advocate.
C3 was eager to help us, and even whenever we weren't giving them work, they were still eager to give advice. The things that they were putting out for the for changing from DMO to RFG and giving that to the industry and not charging anything for it, I thought was really cool. And that's stuff that I as a contractor appreciate. I'd recommend C3 to any contractor that's looking for a PA, especially if you're around Colorado. Great guys, man. I'm nothing but happy with the work they've done for us.
What's up, everybody? I'm meteorologist Andrea Myers, bringing you guys your daily hail forecast, sponsored as always by C3 Group, Merlin Law Group, and Art of the Supplement. Y'all saw their commercials a second ago. Make sure to go check them out. They help make these videos possible, so we want to give them a thanks. And with that, jumping into our weather stories of the day, we have a pretty tricky setup for today, and it's going to feature a risk all the way from the southern plains up into the Midwest. We're going to talk a little bit about who's going to get hail, but yes, for once in a while, Denver, Dallas, and OKC are all in the risk for today. And then into tomorrow, the risk is going to depend a lot on today's risk, but tomorrow we also have a risk from the southern plains up into the Midwest once again. We're going to talk about the timing and setup of that as well. And then after that, things should begin to quiet down a little bit. We still will have some severe chances for the end of the week for you guys. However, these today and tomorrow are going to be the big days for this week. So into our storm report totals. We haven't gotten a ton yesterday. No tornado or high wind reports. We got 7 large hail, and that was through Colorado, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Just a couple here and there. That brings our total since January to 240 tornado reports, 1,350 hail reports, and then just under 1,700 high wind reports. So we have gotten quite a few since January 1st, still a little bit lower than 2020, which was an average year, so we're below average. I want it to hail just as much as you guys do. We're not super happy with those numbers yet. However, hopefully things will pick up soon, and today we do have a big risk, so we could see that hail and wind number spike up after today and tomorrow's risk. Into our current conditions, pretty pleasant across the country. We do have some precipitation starting to form through Wyoming up into South Dakota, and then again into Texas and Oklahoma. We're starting to see some rain showers moving through there. This is actually going to be important to our forecast today. See all these clouds that are moving through the central part of Texas and much of Oklahoma. That's going to limit that daytime heating that we need to see those storms form. So it's starting to clear out a little bit in the western part of Oklahoma. Yes, it is going to hail today. We're going to talk about it in a second. We're seeing this clearing moving through western Texas right now, and as that pushes those clouds off to the east, hopefully we'll start to see some of that surface heating pop up. We're expecting things to get into the upper 80s through that area, and that's going to help pop some of those storms through that area. Then through the rest of the country, beautiful through the east, really nice through the west as well. We've just got this cloud band that's moving through the central plains right now due to a trough that is pushing through. You know, those troughs like to fuel those systems as we get those storms along the eastward edge of it. That's why we're getting that cloud cover through the central part of the country right now. Current temperatures, again, beautiful through most of the country. It is 52 up in Portland, 61 in Southern California right now. Sitting in the low 50s through Denver and even in Minneapolis up in the north. We got the low 50s for you guys. And then down into the mid to upper 70s through the southeast and the central plains. So really pretty conditions. We are expecting it to get a little bit warmer through the southern part of the central plains or today into this afternoon. And that's going to help those storms like we talked about. Current dew points, you guys know how crucial these are to our severe weather chances. Those storms like that moisture to feed off of, and we've got plenty of it feeding up from the Gulf of Mexico right now as that trough moves southward and pulls all of that warm, moist air out of the Gulf. That's going to help these storms form. 66-degree dew point temperatures in Dallas, nice and humid for you guys. 70 down in New Orleans, and then 62 up in Wichita, Kansas. So we're seeing those dew points in the 60s that we like to see. We're going to see those pop up into the mid 70s later today. And again, that's going to help those storms fire off into the central plains all the way from Texas up into the Midwest. Forecast Cape. Again, convective available potential energy just means how much energy those storms have to feed off of today. Again, lots of it. So we've got a good amount of Cape here in the southern part of Texas by 3:30 p.m., so just the middle of the workday. We're going to see some high values there and some moderate values all the way up into Kansas City area. And then Denver, this is where you guys are going to get your risk from today, is those moderate values. However, you guys are up in the mountains. It doesn't take much. We just need a little bit here through Denver to get those hailstones forming up into those severe values. So lots of Cape moving through by early this afternoon. And then by 5 p.m., I think this is actually 6:30 p.m. today, we're going to see more high values down in southern Texas. We're going to see some big hail down there, big hail possible all the way through Oklahoma and up into Kansas. And then again, Denver, you guys are also in the risk for severe hail. Probably not anything huge, but we'll take severe hail. We'll take what we can get because it's been a while. Then moving into later this afternoon into tonight, we're going to see those Cape values diminishing a little bit. However, not as much as we're used to seeing. Usually with that daytime heating moving out of the way, we start to see those Cape values kind of tank off. We're still seeing a little bit of energy available for those storms to continue riding into the overnight hours. Future radar. So we're going to show you a couple of these. We're going to do this regionally. So down in Texas and Oklahoma, we're going to see these storms starting to pop up scattered showers. By 2:30 p.m., we're going to start to see a couple of isolated cells moving through the western part of Texas here. Those are going to blow up, pushing through the Oklahoma City and Tulsa area, and that's where we could see some of those larger hailstones form, is with those initially isolated storms right along our dry line. We saw those dew points earlier with super moist values out in the east here, super dry out here. That's where we're going to get those big storms, is right along that dry line through West Texas here. Then we're going to see some storms popping up through central Texas. Dallas, you guys are in the risk for some small hail as well today. Severe limits are possible. However, I'm thinking more in the $quarter to $half size range. We'll talk about it. Then into tonight by 11, 12, 1 a.m., starting to see those storms pushing off, and then we still get some isolated cells moving through western and central Texas. So like I said, those Cape values don't go away overnight tonight. We're going to see some heating that's going to linger around. We could see these storms pushing through into the late night and early morning hours. So as those push off, we're going to see those move through eastern Texas, then moving upward into the North Plains and Denver area. So around 2 o'clock, that's when you're going to start to see those isolated storms coming off of the mountains, moving through the Denver area and pushing up into the Central Plains. A couple of those could be stronger than others, producing hail in the $quarter to $half size range. So Denver, you guys are in the risk for some severe hail today. $quarter to $half is what I'm thinking. Then as these storms really get going and start pushing to the northeast, we could see some larger hail associated with those as they really get rolling. And then finally, Kansas City, there's where your storms come from. We could see these storms blowing up through western Nebraska, eastern Colorado, some storms again through Kansas and Missouri, and those could form some severe hail as well. Up here in Wisconsin, we also have had some storms rolling through this morning, and we could see some continue into this afternoon and this evening. This is by 10 p.m. here. We could see some storms as far north as Wisconsin. So like I said, lots of storms in lots of places, kind of a complicated forecast into today. Those are going to push off to the east through the overnight hours. We could see those storms linger, like I said before. Significant hail model here. So you guys have seen this before. This is not how big the hail is necessarily going to be. This is not everywhere that the hail is definitely going to fall. However, it's just showing how big that the hail could get if those storms produce in those areas. So we're seeing some moderate hail sizes here in South Texas, and this is where those storms are initially going to form in West Texas this afternoon. This is by 2:30 again. Denver, $1/4 to $1/2, maybe some larger through that area based on this model alone. And then we could see, again, $1/4 to $1/2, maybe a little larger anywhere through the Central Plains. Pushing into a little bit after the workday ends, we're going to see those values start to pop up here through southern Texas. That's where we're going to see the big hail today. The biggest hail is through southwestern Texas, just going to spoil it for you now. And then up through the central parts of the plains, we also have some larger values through there. And then finally into the late night and early morning hours. Check that out. Some big hail through western Texas right now in that early morning hours, and that risk still extends through the Central Plains and the Midwest. Then looking into our forecast max hail size. So I'm putting us at tennis balls. There's eventually going to be something in between tennis balls and softballs, and that's kind of where I'm thinking it'll lie right now. We could see some hail larger than tennis balls through West Texas. However, that is the majority of the largest hail that I'm expecting to see today. So we will get some big stones, we'll get some good hail sizes forming through there today. Most that are in the risk are going to be in at least $1/4 to $1/2 sized hail. However, in that region, that's where I'm thinking we could see tennis balls. So let's talk about our hail forecast. You guys, I'm sure, want to see the graphic by now. So $1/4 to $1/2 all the way from southern Texas up into Minnesota and Wisconsin. Yes, sheesh, it's a big old hail swath here. We could get storms anywhere from, like I said, southern Texas up into the Central Plains. Denver, you guys are in the risk as well. And this is where, like I said, our largest hail sizes are going to fall with that large Cape values and all those moisture values that we liked to see earlier. So working our way from north to south, anywhere from Milwaukee, Des Moines, you guys could see $1/4 to $1/2 sized hail, maybe a couple larger stones here and there. Like I said, we've had some storms rolling through this morning and this afternoon. However, we're looking, like I said, $1/4 to $1/2 is a pretty safe bet for you guys through today. Then moving southwestward into Denver, $1/4 to $1/2 is what I'm expecting for you guys as well. We could get some hail in the ping pong to golf ball size range through the eastern part of Colorado into Colby, Kansas, and through the southwestern part of Nebraska. And then Kansas City, I'm also thinking $1/4 to $1/2 size for you guys, although, like I said, a larger hailstone or two cannot be ruled out there. Then moving down into the bulk of our risk area for today. So Tulsa, Oklahoma City, you guys are at a moderate risk for seeing some hail in the ping pong to golf ball size range at least. Then into Dallas-Fort Worth, you guys are on the edge of that risk. So you're in the $1/4 to $1/2 size risk. If those storms can reach you by tonight, you may see some larger hail. However, it's just dependent on the timing of this trough pushing through. If it's a little bit slower than we're expecting, you might not get anything at all. If it moves a little faster, it could see some larger hail than $1/4 to $1/2 size. Just depends on the timing of that trough. Then through the western part of Texas right now, that's where we're going to see our tennis ball sized hail risk possible, particularly through the western Texas panhandle into southwestern Oklahoma. That's where those storms are going to fire off initially. And we could see with those initially isolated storms, we could see some hail larger than tennis balls through there. So most at-risk cities, we've talked about them. I'm going to hop over here so you guys can see the names. Lubbock, Texas, I have you guys in an extreme risk, so you're probably going to see some hail. Those storms are popping up in that area, so you're likely going to see some hail with those since they're initiating in your area. So good chance for Lubbock, Texas. Abilene, same kind of story. Storms are firing off in your area, so you're at a high risk for seeing hail tonight. Oklahoma City and Tulsa, those are going to move through, and the models have been really disagreeing. They have not liked us today. They're disagreeing a lot on the timing and location of these storms, which is what makes this forecast so tricky. However, those storms are pushing up through Oklahoma City and Tulsa pretty consistently, so we are thinking you guys will see a moderate to high chance of seeing hail tonight. Dallas-Fort Worth, we talked a little bit about the timing, and that's why I have you guys at a low chance. Denver, you are also at a low chance just because of the seasonality of this. However, if those storms get rolling through Denver, we could see some $1.25 to $1/2 size range stones. Then into our city forecast. So, max hail size for Oklahoma City is going to be ping pong to golf ball sized as those storms roll through. You guys got a moderate chance of that because, like I said, we are seeing some consistency in showing those storms coming up through your area. Chance of 1-inch hail is high with that. You'll likely see some hail with those storms. Chance of greater than golf balls, however, probably not going to happen. I don't think they're going to sustain themselves well enough to produce that gigantic hail that we're hoping to see. However, you'll probably get something in the $1.25 to $1/2 size range at least, possibly up to golf balls through that area. And these storms are going to move through in waves. So the bulk of the storms are going to fall from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. However, you will still see some possible severe activity into the overnight hours. Then moving into Dallas-Fort Worth, here we are, 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. is the hail time for that. Like I said, that trough could speed up, could slow down, and that'll change dependent on the speed of that trough. However, that is likely when you're going to see the hail chances possible. You're in the $1.25 to $1/2 size range for that. Chance of 1-inch hail is unlikely just because we are waiting on that trough to push through your area. However, it could happen, so we're going to leave you guys in the risk for that. Chance of 1-inch hail to $1.25 to $1/2 size hail. Chance of greater than golf balls is, again, probably not going to happen with this. However, tomorrow could be interesting for you guys. Then into Lubbock. That is kind of the area that's stealing the show for today, although we've got plenty of areas in our risk. Chance of 2.5-inch hail is high just because, again, those storms are initiating through your area. We could see those blowing up quickly and producing that large hail as they do. Hopefully they don't move east of you guys too fast. However, we are looking at that's going to be where those storms are initiating. So that's why we have you at high risk for tennis ball sized hail. Probably going to at least see something in the $1.25 to $1/2 size range. Chance of greater than 1.75 golf balls. You could see that happen. Like I said, those storms are going to blow up and stay isolated initially, so that'll help you get those larger hail sizes tonight. And that's going to happen early this afternoon through the end of your workday. So into tomorrow. That was our messy risk for today, and into tomorrow, it kind of is going to be dependent on what happens today. So lots of stuff going on today. As that trough continues to push through, we could have that dry line continue to follow with that trough. Not quite as sharp as you like to see it to force those storms to ascend. So when you have those drastic temperature differences or drastic moisture differences, that's what helps those storms get rolling. And this is kind of a weaker dry line, especially up here where our risk is coming from. And that is going to be by 6 p.m. tonight, then into tomorrow. It really doesn't strengthen a whole lot. You do see it start to tighten up here through Texas, and we could see some larger hail in that area. However, our risk is going to extend all the way into the Midwest, and this is just not as close as I'd like to see it. So that is going to be by the end of the workday tomorrow. Still kind of a messy dew point gradient here. We do have that dry line through Texas, and that's going to be our chance for big hail into tomorrow. Future radar, here's what we're looking at into tomorrow. So 7 a.m., that's tomorrow morning. Storms are going to start to push off as we have our risk for today end and the one for tomorrow begin. So this is by noon tomorrow. This is what we're looking at, starting to see some messy storms all the way from the Mississippi Valley up into the Midwest. And then into the end of the workday tomorrow. Check it out, we've got these isolated storms starting to form through Texas. We've got these bands and isolated storms in Oklahoma City area, as well as some messy storm clusters all the way through the Midwest. And then by 9 o'clock tomorrow, same kind of story. We have messy storms up there. However, through Dallas, you guys could see some hail through there. We got another isolated cell here through South Texas. And again, models have not agreed with one another on where these are going to form or when they're going to form. However, we have seen some consistency on these storms popping up through West Texas. And then again, messy storm modes through the Midwest. And then as those push to the northeast, you see them start to kind of band up, and we could see that risk push off to the east into tomorrow. So this is our significant hail model for tomorrow. We're going to see some $1.25 to $1/2 possible by the midday, mid-afternoon. And then into the evening hours, we're going to see these start to increase up into some larger hail sizes through Texas. Again, not much going on in the Midwest. However, we do have enough instability up there to pop a couple of smaller storms. Then into the end of the day, those are starting to die off as that trough moves out of the way and we start to lose that daytime heating. So here's our hail forecast for tomorrow. Another big one, guys. We've got hail all the way from Texas up into the Midwest once again. You guys saw the hail models and the dew point temperatures up here. Not super impressive, so I have you guys in the $1/4 to $1/2 size. However, with that dry line and with that instability that we're seeing in Texas, that's where we could see some larger hail. So we do have another risk for some large hail through Texas tomorrow. So again, working north to south, Indianapolis, St. Louis, you guys could see anything in the $1/4 to $1/2 size range with some of those storm clusters that move through your area tomorrow. And then down into OKC, Dallas, Midland, and even Del Rio, Eagle Pass. That's where we could see some larger hail. Dallas, I'm excluding you guys from the risk for the largest hail into tomorrow. We'll see what comes of that. We may update that into tomorrow. However, you are at a moderate risk for seeing some storms into tomorrow evening. Oklahoma City, $1/4 to $1/2 size hail at least, possibly up to golf balls. And then our biggest hail is going to be down here through Del Rio, coming off of those mountains, pushing northwest into Texas and producing hail possibly up to tennis ball size once again into tomorrow. So that's it for today and tomorrow. Kind of a messy setup into today, and we'll be updating you guys on what happens as we go. We may end up having to go live earlier, so make sure that you follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube so that you will never miss our live videos. Make sure to hit see first on Facebook as well so you always get those notifications. And then if you guys want to get in contact with us, you can call us at 855-334-4245. You can also email us if you would rather at info@hailtrace.com, or check out our website, hailtrace.com, for more details. And we love hearing from you guys, so make sure to shoot us any questions, comments, or concerns that y'all have. And with that, I'm meteorologist Andrea Myers. Thanks for watching.